and welcome back to the hottest marriage show in the world. I, John D. and
Tineka,
a.k.a. In Too Much Podcast. Good morning, my love. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Had an early morning of volunteering for an archery tournament. I didn't discuss my experience, but after listening to yours, I wish I could have participated a little bit more. I was wondering why these kids were here, these young kids. So we volunteered at an archery tournament, and there were two girls there. They were in high school, and I just couldn't understand why they were there.
National Honor Society, they were getting those hours in because they're due this week.
Yeah, and I didn't know that.
They were everywhere.
Because I didn't ask enough questions. I just couldn't understand. And I was just like, hey, maybe it's like somebody's parents said, you're going to do this. So, But I could have, I guess, been more purposeful with the conversations we were having. They were talking about AP classes in college. But I will say this. I was like, I can't approach them the same as I would any other kid. So I was like, I'm just going to back off, because I was like, if I said, you shouldn't think about this because of this, I don't know what kind of financial situation they're in. So that's a different conversation I can have. I haven't spoken about it enough where it's all typically I speak to one population of people.
Right.
And these people may not even care. It's like, you do what you want. And I can't tell them to look out for your parents because you can get your classes cheaper here. Or, you know what I'm saying? So it was just like, I'm going to be quiet, because I didn't want to cross a boundary of financial whatever because of or reveal anything, where it could be taken the wrong way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So but I could have still spoke a little more with them. You know what I'm saying? Just tell them hey, you should consider this or something. But yeah, I thought about that, and that shut me down, because I didn't want to say the wrong thing, give the bad advice, unsolicited advice.
Yeah.
I'm good at that. And that's a ball game I didn't want to play.
Yes, you like that. But yeah, well, in this situation, it was different. I was volunteering alongside a parent who, she's first generation here, and the student was first generation of the same cultural background. And so they're sitting there talking about college, and the girl is considering Michigan State, and she's considering somewhere out of state. And she was like, I want to live in a dorm. If I go to MSU, because it's local, I would be at home. But I kind of feel bad about the idea, because my parents said that they're going to pay for my education. So I feel bad about the idea of going somewhere where I'll have to be in a dorm. And this was my first time having this conversation with someone because I'm looking like, I tell Dallas all the time, don't worry about money. If I say we're going to do something or we're going to pay for something, Dallas is still worried about how much it costs. And I'm like, if your parent says that this is going to happen, you don't worry about that. The parent worries about that. And so I told the girl, I said, I took the lead from the other person who was with me, because culturally, and also as far as generationally understanding, coming from the country and what have you, she had to understand. She was like, you don't worry about that. Your responsibility is to do well in school and, take advantage of every opportunity. That's how you thank your parent. And for me, that gave me the ability I never get to have that conversation with a kid. However, I do it with Dallas. And so I could see it in this instance too. And I said, if your parents said that they're going to pay for your education, and they know that you're looking at an out-of-state school where you'll have to pay those fees and live in a dorm, they were already prepared for that well before you even thought of where you were trying to go for college. That's why they said, we got it. So you don't worry about that. You only worry about what your responsibility is in there. And it's different to be able to tell a kid, don't worry about that. Yes. Your parent already has the plan. However, in the kids that I've talked to, like friends, children, and younger cousins, I'm always like, okay, you can go to community college and get this done. You don't have to take this class. If you're going to go in, it's so different now. Well, that situation was different. So It was kind of cool though to talk to someone who was, on her way out. She was like, I'm so excited. I'm going to learn to drive this year. That's also crazy because I was 15 in driver's ed. And
because we had somewhere to go.
We did. And she was talking about that. She said, she was like, after the pandemic, I don't really go and do anything. And I was like, golly, these kids they're different.
I wonder what it's going to develop though, because earlier you were talking about how kids are so comfortable at being at home that they don't do anything, and we have to tell them to do things.
We do. Yeah.
It's so like it's going to be a crutch at some point. And I hope it's not a bad one, because, you think about the way that we grew up, like if we didn't have it, we'd find a way to get it or be as close to as possible. They don't even want it.
They don't. But, I think I remember when I was growing up, my mom was telling me and other kids, like, y'all got to be okay with being by yourself sometime. Yeah. Our kids got that on lock. Absolutely. It's just the other part.
Absolutely on lock.
They'd be like, yeah, I'm fine here. So yeah, that was something else.
Like, you're so crazy just thinking about when I was growing up, if I was by myself, I thought I was on punishment.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't even appreciate it now. Like, go to your room. Okay, they just go down like whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where I was going anyway.
I know. Well, that's the other parent. She was like, I think I made my home too comfortable.
Yeah,
because crazy. They ain't trying to go nowhere.
No,
they're not. And right.
What this makes. I hope it's a productive citizen in society. I hope like later they don't just find something like, okay, I got to be a rebellious adult because we're following.
Yeah. Well, and that's what the other parent, she was saying. She was like, I grew up in this culture. My parents didn't want me to do anything socially. So when it was time to go to college, I was ready. And I'm like, I remember them people. They were like, hey, open the gate so I can get out and have a good time. And it does kind of create like a whole bunch of chaos, like in the beginning, because you're trying to do everything and be everywhere and have everything that you can.
Yeah.
It burns out a little bit though.
You hope. But I think everybody's foundation is what it is. They're going to have to figure out those boundaries of life and see why we told them not to do it. I don't know what it is, but it's going to be something where they're like, it's just because they're old, I can do it this way. Maybe I'm smarter. Because if they don't do it, it's like they just stay in their own bubble. Kind of like, it's all right. Are you okay?
Yeah. I mean, I would say that my throat is dry, but I just finished drinking. So it's just, I don't know what that was. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Free. Yeah, I don't know what it looks like for them to be rebellious or challenge any type of system that help them grow, because that's what I'm looking at life now. Like, our accidents, our ignorance that caused the mistakes that we had to learn from, it made us who we are, where we can say, hey, you don't have to do it that way. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what theirs is looking like. Like, even, I know we don't know everything, but I feel like we've prevented we gave them a certain amount of security for them to not get caught up in particular traps.
Yeah.
But we gave them like a sound decision-making process to keep them out of those.
Yeah.
But what is going to be there?
Mm-hmm. I hope it's something sophisticated and not dumb. like, let it be that they don't get exposed to all this and get caught up in something so senseless. I'm going to need y'all to level up. Your mistake got to be more complicated than my mistake.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. I know that they got to have it, but it's definitely got to be more complicated, right?
However,
it would be really disappointed.
I know if it was like something simple and you'd be like, all of this stuff I've been telling you. Okay. Well, I'm hoping that that's how it's going to go. And that it might be complicated, but then they'll come to us and be like, hey, this is going on.
Yes.
Before it blow up.
Yeah, that'll be there. Well, at least they know that. They have that with us.
The hopes and the dreams of a parent.
I believe in that. Like, my father couldn't say that he would come and tell me. He wouldn't have said, yeah, John would have told me. I didn't get comfortable with telling him anything until like I was 22, 23.
1 and 2 years.
Yeah, I was like a real adult. Like, at least in my mind, I was a real adult. I was like, I guess I can tell him things now. But yeah, I was still scared of him because for so many different, I shouldn't have been, but it was just kind of like out of behavior. But yeah, I hope that they know that they can come to us for those tough decisions.
Yeah.
And be like, what do we do? What happened? I was like, I don't know, but let's have fun. It's like one of them escape boxes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like the little, you put people in a room and they give you clues and you got to try to get out of it in a certain amount of time. So hopefully they look at it like that.
Yeah, I definitely took Day and Dallas to one of those when we were in Abu Dhabi. Were you there?
Yeah.
Oh, we went in there. We definitely didn't make it out. They definitely came in twice to give us hints. They definitely came in twice to give us hints.
But you were in there with 2 little kids.
Yeah. But I was like, yeah, something is not like, what are we missing? Like, can we get a hint? They do give y'all hints in the escapology spots. Yeah.
So hopefully, they look at their trouble like an escapology and come to use us as resources.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, use our brains somehow.
Yeah, I know we kind of got off on a tangent with helping kids make better decisions, but which was on your mind today?
So I guess it's similar. Well, it has to do with kids and us or what have you. So you've been talking a lot about how it's the man's fault if a marriage falls apart. Uh-huh. And we talked a lot about why that is. I don't know if we talked a lot here, but we talked a lot together about why you feel that way. And so, okay, so say we got divorced and you get in a relationship with someone else and that person has a poor relationship or an abusive relationship with the kids. We could see that. I understand, but we could see that as being your fault, right?
Absolutely.
Because that's the person you chose. So say that I got in a relationship with someone who had a poor or abusive relationship with one of our kids or our kids. And having listened to you and it being ingrained in their head that the man is that responsible for the sustaining or breaking of the marriage. If they came to you and said, this is all your fault, because if you would have been here, none of this would have ever happened. How would you navigate that conversation feeling the way that you do?
Oh, it's easy. Yeah, so it's my fault. So if the kids come to me and say it's my fault, I'll be able to tell them where it was. And I'll be able to accept that because at any point in that relationship where I lost the day-to-day interaction with my kids because of a relationship problem, it's my fault. Like, because they're not coming with me. And I'm smart enough to like recognize they could come with me, but I'm smarter to know that they benefit by staying with you because you're going to give them something that I couldn't give them. And I don't want whatever that messed our relationship up. I don't want them to see that behavior on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I would definitely want you to take them, number one, because it puts them in a safer space.
So you telling me you would rather for them to live in my household?
Yes. But this is all speaking as if I'm someone that's caught for whatever reason in an abusive relationship because.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought it was from the initial.
No, I'm saying, okay, so we get a divorce. Later on, I meet somebody. We're in a relationship. The relationship becomes abusive to the point, and it could be any kind. And it's spilling over into their interactions with our kids.
Yes.
So then the kids come to you and they say, it's your fault because if you were here, this would have never happened. How do you navigate that being the person? Because
I just tell them they're right.
Yeah, but there's so much more to it. So,
yes, I mean, but I can't like, I'm not going to fight and say like they're wrong because I know they're right. Like if I knew how to do it, she would have been protected in the first place. She would have never gotten that situation. But I can only hope that they believe that I didn't get into the marriage to have an outcome like this. So like I didn't have enough information. So I think that hopefully they could receive a message like, look, I'm not the person that you know as your father that was ignorant. Like, I can tell you when things changed in my life. I can tell you, look, I started writing things down. Like, I'm like, okay, like, so it's more so they'll have multiple ways to be able to recognize my sincerity.
So when they're talking, because I'm thinking, just to give you an idea, I'm thinking, number one, I remember in my past being in abusive relationships. And sometimes women are in them and they find it so hard to back away. But we still want to protect our kids. But we still feel like we want to be with our kids. And sometimes mothers can keep their kids in unsafe situations because they can't make personal decisions that make sense. So that's why I'm saying I would want you, if you saw this going down, the minute they told you that, I would want them gone out of the house. And even if I said no, in the moment, I'm telling you in all of my mind that's what I would have wanted.
I know who you are. Okay. But I don't know. Yeah. I would be ignorant of us to not like, no. Yeah.
Okay. So I was listening to this, it's like me interviewing you today. I was listening to this comedian and he was talking about how when his parents split up, his mom was in a relationship with a man and she was crying all the time. And his dad was like, even though they were divorced, his dad still had a level of protection over her, protectiveness. And so the father was like, so he was telling his dad, like, she's crying all the time over this guy. And he said, so what you gonna do about it? And the son was like he didn't understand what he was supposed to be doing about it because he's the son. He's like a teenager or whatever. So the mother is crying. The guy is in the vicinity and the dad comes. He happens to see all of this, not condoning violence, but the dad understanding what was happening. To give more of the story, the guy broke up with the mom and started dating a woman across the street. So every time he came over, she was like crying and always concerned or whatever. So the dad, when he came to pick up his son, she's crying. And finally the son was like, it's because of this situation. So the dad goes over across the street, knocks on the door. The guy comes out and he beats this dude's tail. And then he comes back out of the house and he looks at his son and he said, that's how you're supposed to fix it. Now, that's not how you're supposed to fix it. However, the dad still felt like even though they were years divorced, her emotions and her feelings. Yeah. And so to him, he still got to protect her. Yeah. And so taking that back to our conversation, because we always feel like, well, you're not in my life anymore. You don't have any say, blah, 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 blah. Is there still a responsibility, even after divorce, of some level of protectiveness over your former partner because of your kids?
So, see, I don't know how you want me to answer who I am?
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be divorced. It's so difficult for me to be able to say, because to me, I feel like the person I'm now, if we had happened to get divorced and I'm the person I could get you easy. Ugh. It's because I know where, like I told, like, I know I can say, hey, this is what happened. Like, if I can give you the answers and like, look, you're only there because I didn't know how to do it then, but this is where I am. And then I'm able to articulate where you could be like, well, that does make sense. I was like, just give me another chance. And guess what? You can always go back over to that mess and then that would entice you. But to me, I feel like I know what to say because I know how to be this person that you want.
But what if you are in a relationship where you love someone? Do you feel like you have a role, because this is the mother of your children, to have a protective presence?
I think that
that can be difficult for
I think that it's so many babies being created by non-relationships. It was just, oops, it wasn't anything. So some people don't have that same drive for somebody that they actually had a relationship with, because it was just like an accident. Like, there's no way these two people would have ever wanted to have a baby. So to say that men should have that for them is unfair. And for a woman to expect that man to feel like that is unfair.
I agree. I guess I'm thinking, when I was listening to these two instances completely separate of one another, I'm thinking about the women that I know. I think about past relationships I've heard about or that I've experienced. And when you talk about the role of the man in a relationship, I'm just wondering, it doesn't seem realistic to say that you continue to be protective over that person because you got to live your life and you build other relationships and that impacts them.
Okay, I get no. Here it is. If the man knows he messed up the relationship, he will always protect her. If he knows he's the reason, why would he stop feeling that way? He effed up, unless he's immature and he shouldn't have been in a relationship. But if the man really, if he loved her and he knows his fault, why would he stop loving her? Because he messed it up.
Yeah. Okay.
And like, that's his, yes.
Okay. I guess that is what I was thinking. That wasn't what I was thinking, but it is. It answers what I was feeling because I was kind of in the in-between of, I guess if you're always going to say that it's the man's fault that a marriage ended, then in that way, that's the case. However, I'm not going to say that women don't make poor decisions that can lead to the end of a marriage or lead to someone feeling like they don't want to be with them anymore. Because we have experiences that sometimes give us unrealistic expectations of men, have unrealistic expectations of what is required of us and what our responsibility in the relationship is. So I'm not going to act like women are not capable of dismantling a marriage based on those things that have damaged them over time.
So I just go like this. I put it on that man's fault for selecting this woman. And this is what I'm saying. If the man is thorough, he won't run into those problems because no woman is hiding those things on purpose.
Yeah. I hear you.
You know what I'm saying? They don't even know that those are problems.
And I guess that goes back to when we were talking about what the man's actual role is. In that the man makes that real decision in every interaction that we actually have. Like a man proposes to the woman. And so the man is choosing his wife. And some people, when they're getting biblical, they're like, a man who finds a wife finds a good thing. But it doesn't say a woman who finds a husband is X, Y, or Z. And they talk about what a good wife is. So in every aspect you look at it, really the man is making the decision. So he really should be seeking out from those women that he has to choose from who are open to being in a relationship with him. He has to choose the best one. And even in having kids, the man makes the decision to pass the seed. A woman can't decide to keep or terminate a pregnancy unless a man gives it to her first. So men do have, you set the tone.
But the reason why it doesn't, most men don't know that because their parents didn't know. And if you don't go seek that information, like if you're only with your friends and none of your friends are seeking more information, you will only continue to know the information you know. Yeah. So how many people really care about getting more information so that they can grow? Because most of the people think that they're comfortable. They like where they are. So why is a man supposed to evolve into something if nobody in this area, in this clique is thinking like, hey, we probably should be getting better so we could challenge each other? Or you just going to stay that same person? That's the way that I see it.
Well, I think that's the growth for everybody. But yeah, definitely in that way, I think that we always complain about, like I was having a conversation this week with someone who was telling me that her guy, I'm the man, I'm the provider. I'm the man, but is not really providing, is not really, I don't think people understand that the man is, when you're in a role, people like only certain traits of what it means to be a man and be able to be the dominant one. But they don't want to take all the traits. They be like, there's the list of the traits and they'll be like, this, and this makes me a man.
Because men only know what other men has wrote about.
Yeah.
And they say, this is what it is. And it's such a ignorant list. Like it's so many other things, but these are the easiest things that I could do to say that I'm a man.
Okay. I have an idea for our next conversation, but it requires homework first.
Okay.
But I
you understand what?
Yeah. And I appreciate you answering my question.
I don't know any men or any man, a group of men in clusters, or all of us want to be better.
Yeah.
But it's almost like the language is that's what, but nobody does that on purpose. Mm-hmm. Like, so if you're not doing it on purpose, like how can they grow? Like, cause I just look back at myself. I used to always have these mantras. I used to say, be great on purpose and make today better than yesterday. Mm-hmm. I said these things for years, right? Mm-hmm. But then I look back when I was saying it, well, what was I really doing? Mm-hmm. I was just existing, going to work, coming home. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really working on anything unless like I started to work out, but how long did that last? Mm-hmm. But when I changed up how I was living as far as trying to be better.
Yeah.
The benefits was so like crazy. It was like, and now I can tell when people are really working on themselves. They don't have to say anything to me. Mm-hmm. You can already know the way that they talk. They're like the way a person talks can tell you so many things, like the confidence, or like if they don't want to talk, like the body language, the demeanor of a particular subject. You can see what they want to talk about and what they don't want to talk about. So when people say that, I'm like, hey, how you doing? I was like, man, just working, trying to improve. He said, aren't we all? I'm like, in my head, I'm saying no. It's not, because it just sounds good.
Yeah.
But when you see people doing it, they just got a different vibe about them. They're like, hey, they are happier more. Because a lot of people complain about this life. They be like, they're not happy. They're complaining about this, and this. But some people just know these things are going to exist. When you know that those exist, you just say, okay, these can no longer make me upset because I can't control. Now, what else is making me upset? That's the ones that are growing. Like, oh, just imagine if you're around people that feel like that. It's really difficult to complain. You know what I'm saying? But me looking at people, I'm like, what can I do to rub off on people? Because it's so easy to get in that hamster wheel of things not going your way. Like, if it ain't one thing, it's another.
That used to be a you always hear old people say that. Well, if it ain't. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I want people to do it on purpose, because, this is one thing I want you to know. Doing it on purpose and you get a fruit from it that you didn't even expect. Somebody says something to you, like, oh my God, I didn't even do that on purpose. And it's just like, because it worked because you've been doing this. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, this is for real.
Yeah.
So if men practice that, just imagine what the relationship pool would look like. Mm-hmm. Like, men would be scooping women up like, hey, okay, let's get this to this, whatever they doing. Mm-hmm. Because this look like I can become like this. That's what I said. If people knew that the relationships could really grow if you work on them, mm-hmm. and they could see the fruit from it, and we're like, they ain't playing. That's how they really are. Like, why wouldn't you want to work toward that? Because everybody been doing it their way, and then it's 50%, you work 50%, and then the leftover 50% that work. Do they really want to be around each other? It's like, it's a business deal. We, been doing this for so long. Like, they can really get to the happiness of a relationship. Like, let's enjoy this moment. Mm-hmm. So if men understood how to do that, like, women would follow men anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, that's what really a woman is looking for. She wants a man to be able to, like, accept his mistakes, and when he's wrong, say, hey, we could have done it in a different way. Just to not be stubborn, like, we doing it my way. Like, it makes relationships grow because that the woman feels like their voice is being heard.
Yeah.
Like, before, I didn't care about what you was talking about. Uh-huh. But, I mean, I thought that's what men do.
Yes.
But like, as I've grown, and I'm like, damn, her options are better than mine. Why am I not? I say she's the smartest woman in the world, smartest person in the world. She's like, and you don't even take my advice.
No, not at all.
But I do now. Like, I'm open to everything. But before, I was being a man, like the man that I thought I was supposed to be. And I was like, dang, all of these things are happening too. Like, I'm like, we're still moving. I'm like, I'm doing it right. It's my way.
Man.
Like, I took my family to the other side of the world by being a man.
Yeah, man.
But now I'm a more evolved man, and hopefully me to see that the benefits of getting better can make your relationship grow in so many different ways.
Agreed.
Yeah. Anybody want to give a shout out before we get out of here?
The lady who, I'm telling y'all, believe it or not, the lady who told me that she thought I was one of the high school students volunteering today.
Yeah, that gets.
I have gray. Y'all, I used to wear locks. I think you knew. I used to have locks, and now my hair is loose. John and my mother helped me comb out 99 locks, and I have little grays. But she must have not seen it because she asked the one girl, "What grade are you in?" And then she asked me what grade I was in. And I'm not lying. And I was like, I'm one of the parents. And she was like, oh, okay. And she was like, I wasn't trying to flatter you. I was like, I mean, that's even better though. So shout out to you, Ann.
Yeah, that's dope. Like, don't crack. Well, we hope, right? Yeah, so keep looking good. Whatever you're doing is working.
Okay.
Listen, I can't pop out anything at 17 for real. Not by no really good parents like that's on it. Like, what are you doing? She got 3 kids and she thinking you a senior in high school.
I know that was something else.
Yeah.
So Dallas, he did go to a club this week, and he thought that the senior who was leading it was a grown woman. And Gary's like, no, she's a senior. And Dallas said, she looks a lot more grown than. So maybe it goes both ways right now. So, yeah.
No doubt. Well, I mean, mature is mature, right? Yeah. As long as you acting like you got some sense, it don't matter.
Yeah.
Y'all make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA. Get after that action, or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose. Love it.